Good evening, everybody. This is Sri Ram Reddy from Hyderabad Budding Pulse. So today's session is about owls of Telangana. We'll discuss about different owls which can be seen in Telangana region. Before that, let me give some brief introduction about myself. I started bird watching from year 2015. Been to various parts of India, documented more than 850 birds from in India. In that, more than 650 birds I photographed. From Telangana region, I documented more than 380 birds. In that, 320 birds have been photographed and updated in ebird.org site. So that's a small brief introduction about myself. Let's see what is the agenda of today's session. So in today's session, right, we'll see what is an owl. Okay, how different it is from other birds. So how different it is from other birds and other bird species. We'll try to differentiate owls from other things, and we'll discuss about the different characteristics of an owl. And if you have noticed in the field, right, each owl has different eye colors. So we'll discuss, is there any relationship between the eye color and their activity, how different they are, how activity wise how different they are. We'll discuss about that. And then after that, we'll see what are the different owls which can be seen in Telangana, their habitat, their habits, habitually how they are different, and also we'll discuss about their distribution in Telangana, and also when they can be seen. All those things about owls we'll discuss today. And after that, what are the superstitions associated with owls we'll see in India and also in Telangana specifically, and how we can actually educate people. We'll discuss about that. And last, we'll see what are the ethics we need to follow while watching owls. So that's the session for today. So let's get started. Okay. So what is an owl, or you can say what makes an owl an owl? So if you see, right, owls are nocturnal birds of prey, which means that they are active at night. So if somebody has handled an owl or touched an owl, probably they are actually very soft plumage. I mean, they're very soft when you touch them. Okay, and they have very short tails. Their tails are very short. They have very big head with large eyes, almost a human-like eyes they have. So, and all owls, they have facial disc. Facial disc is a kind of a round thing similar to humans. And there is one interesting ability they have. They blink their upper eyelids, which when they blink it, right, they give like a semi-human appearance. Maybe that is the reason why we humans actually love owls. Okay. So when you see owls as birds, right, are divided into two families. Okay, so one is true owl family, and the other one is the Tito owl family. So most of the owls which are seen in India and also in Telangana are belongs to true owl family. For Telangana, we have only one Tito owl, which is barn owl from Telangana region. Okay, and if you see, right, owls has adapted, has number of or we can say they exhibit a number of adaptations which enable them to operate with amazing efficiency as nocturnal birds of prey. uh, some other characteristics are their vision. Okay, their vision, the way they hear, the flight, the silent flight of them are well suited for hunting their prey at poor light. When the light is poor, actually they are very efficient. So let's see what are the different characteristics of an owl. Okay. So if you see this picture, right, this gives a brief idea how an owl is. So they have a very large and broad head. So unlike any other birds, their head is very large and also broad. And their vision, right? They're actually forward looking. Their eyes are actually always like humans. They always see the front part, and they have a binocular vision. Binocular vision in the sense they can actually see better when prey is far. So they are far sighted. Sometimes their vision in the near side is slightly on the lower side. Okay, and their hearing, right? They have an amazing hearing ability. That's called binaural hearing, which means that they use both their ears for tracking the prey. So their eyes so their ears, sorry, their ears are actually placed asymmetrically. They are not placed at the same line. One ear is slightly above the other one. So which actually it means that what is the advantage of those asymmetrical ears is when they hear a sound, each ear actually there is slight delay when they receive the sound. So that actually is very useful to pinpoint the prey at night. So asymmetrical ear positions for better location of prey. That's how is their advantage. And all owls has facial disc. Facial disc is nothing else but this facial disc. That is facial disc. And all owls has feathers adapted for silent flight. So silent flight, because the way their feathers are, if you see, there is a comparison of flight feathers of an owl with an eagle. You can see there are fringes or the gaps in between these things, which actually enables when they fly, they generate less friction. Because of that, they are very silent when they fly, unlike eagles or some other birds. And their stance is mostly it is upright. It means that they, as if the humans, they actually sit straight or sit straight in that. And their talons, right? Talons, when it comes to talons, they have sharp talons. And their feet are actually zygodactyl. Zygodactyl is nothing else but their 2 feet are actually pointing forward and 2 feet are on the back side. So it is similar to, let's say, other zygodactyl bird species or woodpeckers, parrots, parakeets. All these are also having zygodactyl feet, which enables them to actually crawl onto the trees. Similarly, owls also has this feature, but unlike other parakeets and other stuff, owls can rotate the third toe forward or backward based on what actions they do. So when they perch, they usually keep 2 toes in front, 2 toes on the back side. But when they hunt, they sometimes they move the third finger to the forward like an eagle, and they hunt. Okay, that's the advantage, or you can say the modification they have it in that, in their feet. And all the owls, right, they have short and also hooked beak. So the short beak, sometimes that beak is actually compressed to the body. That is, there is a reason for that, because as their vision, the beak will never obstruct when they see, as they are forward looking animals. So the beak is not an objection for that. That is the reason they have short and hooked beak. Okay, along with that, they have weak stomach. Weak stomach is nothing else but it means that they eat as a whole. Let's say when they catch a mouse, right? So they swallow it as a whole, and everything in the stomach, it is digested. And uh, and the waste, whatever is there, the bones, of feathers, all that waste is actually regretted again from their mouth as a pellets. So that is one of the features of owl. Okay, so this is one video. We discussed the different characteristics. Like this video, which I kept as a link, actually depicts all the characteristics which we discussed in the previous slide. Probably you can see it when I share this presentation with you guys. Just see this video to understand how efficient birds of prey are these owls at night. So this gives a nice understanding of their how they hunt at night. Okay, so when it comes to owl's eye color, right? Owls has different. I mean, if you observed different owls, right? Some owls have dark eyes, some owls have orange eyes, some owls have yellow eyes. So usually this theory, right, of eye color is actually 80 to 90% true for most of the owls. Okay, so if an owl has dark eyes or the black eyes, it means that these owls are active at night, which are called nocturnal birds. So they are the daytime they usually never come out, and they are always active at night. In the daytime they are mostly roosting. They don't come out. Okay, so some of the nocturnal owls which we see in Telangana are barn owl, mottled owl, spot-bellied eagle owl, and Indian scops owl. So these all these four has a dark eyes. Okay, after that, some owls have orange color. So, which means that they are active during low light conditions, which is dawn and dusk, in the morning, early morning, and also in the evening. They are active. So these kind of owls are called crepuscular owls, or crepuscular owls. So Indian eagle owl is one owl where you can see this dark or bright orange color eyes. You can see, and after that there are owls which are actually yellow in color. Their eyes are yellow in color. It means that they are active in the daytime also. Okay, or at least they can they usually diurnal owls where they sometimes hunt in the daytime also. So mostly, even though they are active at night, in the daytime also they usually you can see them in the daytime. Okay, some of the examples of diurnal owls are spotted owlets. You can say dusky eagle owl, brownfish owl, brown hawk owl, and jungle owlet. So these are some of the owls which are active in the daytime and also at night time. So so when it comes to owls of Telangana, so in the world there are more than 260 owls which are there in the world. So, but when it comes to India, we have 34 owl species in India which are recorded till now. In that, four are Taito owls, which are nothing else but barn owl and grass owls, and rest all are 32 owls from India. When it comes to Telangana, there are 12 owls which are reported till now. One is Taito owl, which Taito owl is nothing else but barn owl. Rest all are true owls. 11 true owls are reported from Telangana. So all these 11 true owls form under each different categories of owls. Again, subcategories of owls like scops owls, eagle owls, fish owls, wood owls, owlets, hawk owls, and we have one winter whisper, short-eared owl. Okay, so we'll discuss about each and every owl which we can see in Telangana, their habits and habitats. We'll discuss in the coming slides. So the same the thing when you keep when you take into consideration, right, in Telangana, the smallest owl which we can see is the Oriental scops owl, which is 19 centimeters, and the biggest owl we can see from Telangana is spot-bellied eagle owl. Okay, now this slide, right, it will tell you the distribution and the months where you can actually see these owls. So this report is taken from eBird. You see, right, most of these owls are actually resident owls except short-eared owl. Okay, so rest all owls you can see in almost all months. Barn owl can be seen in all months. Indian scops owl is a resident, you can see in all months. Oriental scops owl is also similar. Indian eagle owl is also like that. Even spot-bellied eagle owl, some months it is not reported, but it doesn't mean that it is not seen. It is not just reported, that's it. But it is a resident. You can see them throughout the year. Dusky eagle owl, similarly, you can see that it is a resident one. Only exception is the brown hawk owl. Even though all the books says that it is a resident, but in Telangana, usually in winters, we see them as active. Not sure about other months. Probably either they do a local migration or they're silent in that period. We need to see. We need to do more analysis on that part. The rest of the owls are actually seen throughout the year. Okay. So, like any other bird, right? When you wanted to identify, you need to understand the topology of that bird. Okay, as we in Hyderabad Birding Pulse, right, we did a lot of sessions previously where we actually describe the topology of a bird in detail. So I'll not spend much time on that, but some of the features of owls topology we should understand was the ear tufts, which usually are not there in other birds. So probably we'll see what are ear tufts, facial discs, some of the features which owls has that. Because these features, right, the toes, the claws, the tarsals, some of the things we'll be using when we identify each and every owl. So when I share probably in the slide, probably you can see or understand the topology. This is very important, not only for owls, for any bird to identify, you should understand different parts of an owl. Okay, let's come to the main thing. How do we spot owls in the wild? So if you've seen, right? So, so when is the best time to see owls? So the best time is when the owls are active. So we know that all the owls are nocturnal birds. It means that you can see. I mean, if somebody wants to see an owl, the best time is the night time or the active time of that bird. Okay, Indian owl. If it is an Indian eagle owl, then probably early morning and late evening is the best time. Similarly, if you wanted to see a spot-bellied eagle owl, then it is the night time where you can see them. Spotted owlet, maybe throughout the day you can see that. So how do we know that? So the first thing you should to spot any bird, right? You should understand the species and its habitat is very important. Okay, you cannot search Indian eagle owl in the forest. So habitat is very important. The habits of each owl is also very important. So understanding the species and its habitat is the critical for finding owls. Okay, next is you should learn the owl calls. Okay, owl calls are very important for spotting or at least documenting the owls, because most of the time, right, owls are heard rather than seen. Okay, so in the night, if you go in the forest, you will hear the owls, but you'll never see them. So that is the reason to identify them, you should know all owl calls. And owl calls are easy to identify the owls because they have distinct calls, and no owls has a similar sounding calls. So obviously, once you are familiar with the calls, it's easy to identify all owls. Okay. So also you should understand their status in each season. It means that let's say short-eared owl is a winter visitor, right? So you have to know in which month it will come and in which month it goes. Even brown hawk owl, right? I said you usually see them in the winters. Similarly, you should understand in which seasons they are active. Let's say sometimes in the breeding season, all the owls they become active. So those kind of things you should keep in mind to find those owls. So these three are very important things you have to keep it in mind. Okay. Let's say we all know that at night these are active, but what if you wanted to see them in the daytime? So seeing them in the daytime is like solving a mystery, Jaisa. So you need to be like Sherlock Holmes to see, look for clues, and try to spot an owl. So all you need to do was in the daytime, if you wanted to see, you have to look for clues. So you have to check for pellets. Pellets is nothing else but the waste which was generated by the owls. So you have to look for that in the daytime. If at all you see some pellets, which is nothing else but the waste which is generated by owls. So those are indication, a clue for you. Okay, there is a possibility of seeing an owl in that place. And also owls, they generate thick white excretion, which is nothing else but which is referred as whitewash. Okay, whitewash or shit marks in another way. Okay, so these marks, right, they actually are a clue for us to find. If you see a lot of whitewash in their habitat, let's say on some leaves or some rocks or somewhere, then it is a nice clue for us that there is an owl, there is a possibility of seeing an owl in that habitat. Okay, and last, in the field, sometimes other birds, they give an indication of a presence of an owl. It means that, let's say, so most of the time in the field, right, before you see an owl, owl will always see you. Owl will always see you, and it will fly away from that region. And when it flies, usually you'll never notice, because its flight is so silent, right? Most of the owl's flight is so silent, you will never see them, you'll never spot them. But when they move from one place to, they'll never fly very far from their roosting place. Okay, so they'll never go very far. So usually they leave the roosting place, and somewhere they'll go and hide. And then the other birds, the other small birds, it could be mynas, it could be tree pies, it could be bulbuls or drongos. All these birds, they start harassing these owls. So it means that they make wild calls. Those calls are an indication for us that there is an owl in that. So you need to see where exactly all these birds are calling, and try to spot the owls in that place. Okay, that these are all kind of a clues for seeing them in the daytime. Apart from that, you should also understand their prey. Let's say that there are places where there may be, right, owls are all predators, so they eat rodents, small mammals, even insects. So if you see this abundance of prey in the right habitat, let's say right habitat is nothing else but the habitat of that specific cause. So if you have seen these prey, then there is a possibility of seeing owls at night. Okay, so always look for prey base also in that region. For example, open fields, farm areas, garbage dump yards. So these are some places where you can see owls. So also remember, in the daytime, even though some owls are very big, right, it's very difficult to see them, because they have excellent, they have amazing, they can hide themselves amazingly well in the daytime. So you may feel that Indian eagle is very big, but in the daytime, when it camouflages with the rocks, it's very difficult to see them. So so you should look for clues. Clues are the main things which you should start. Once you start exploring the clues, probably we may see some owls. Okay, so that's how it is. Okay, let me drink some water, please. Let's come to our first owl, which can be seen in Telangana. So barn owl, whose scientific name is Tyto alba. Tyto is a Greek word for owl, which means an owl, and alba is nothing else but white. So white alba is a Latin word which means white. It means that a white owl. So you can see it, right? So it has a lovely heart-shaped facial disc, large head with small dark eyes. So as we discussed before, if an owl has a dark eyes, it means that it's nocturnal. It's active at only at night. So they have a large bill, but it is compressed. It's almost like going inside the body. So, and they have very long legs with the sparse feathering on the toes. Okay, there is very less these things, feathers on the toes. So, and one interesting thing is they have a middle claw, which is called pectinate middle claw, which is nothing else but a brush kind of a claw. Probably I'll show it to you. So this is the claw which I'm referring to. It is like a you can say comb. So this is actually used by these owls to clean their feathers. Usually the lice or the insects which are there in their feathers, it uses that claw to clean that. So what is the habitat of a barn owl? So usually you'll see barn owls virtually in almost all habitats. Probably you'll see them in woodlands, scrubland, grasslands. Probably they'll avoid forest region, but in the rest of the places you can see them. Mostly you'll be seeing them in barns, caves, wells, old buildings, and also sometimes in the thick foliage. So as we discuss, as the eyes are dark, right? They're actually completely, generally they're nocturnal. So it's very difficult to see them in the daytime. Even though they roost very close to human habitats, it's very difficult to see them in the daytime. So, but they become active in the night. Sometimes you may see them in the daytime when their habitat is disturbed. So they come out in open. They may sit outside on a electric pole or somewhere on the buildings or somewhere because their roosting place is disturbed. So but when they fly, right, these are actually, I think, the most silent flyers of all owls. Okay, so they make zero noise actually. Okay, so and the other thing is, all these barn owls are widespread. I think they are the widespread owls are the bird species in the entire world actually. So they are in almost all continents except Antarctica. You can see them throughout. Maybe one reason could be they're adapted to human habitats actually. Most of the time they can roost anywhere, or they can breed anywhere. They can do I mean anything which is related to human modified habitat. So that is the reason you can they are highly distributed of all land birds. Okay, so what they hunt actually, they hunt ground mammals, whatever you see it on the ground, right? Mostly small rodent, mice, rats. They actually eat all those things. Apart from that, they also records of eating them, rabbits, bats, frogs, small insects, all those kind of stuff. They eat. So that is the reason you usually see them when you travel at night. Let's say you are you're driving at night, right? When you see some mice or rats moving in the on the road, so there is a strong possibility of seeing these owls sitting on some perch, a vantage point where they have a view of the road or all these areas, and they pounce onto the prey to catch those things. So how okay, how is their breeding? So usually they breed I think twice a year. So they are actually their breeding is actually depends on their food prey. It means that whenever there's a good number of prey available, they actually start breeding. So they breed in old buildings, barns, caves, and also sometimes in the tree hollows. So tree hollows also they use as a breeding grounds. So if you see this, right, these are some photos which are of Banal from Telangana region. This is from Zahirabad, Vikarabad, sorry, Vikarabad, where the owl is sitting on top of an electric pole. It means that the owl came out because its roosting place might be disturbed. Because of that, it came out into open. And this is from Pakal, where it is actually sitting on a palm tree. Usually in Pakal region, you see them roosting in those palm trees. And there is one which is sitting on top of human habitat. So they where you can see anywhere these owls. Okay, so that is the reason I said they are quite adapted to human, even though they live very close to us. It's slightly difficult to see these owls. Okay, so let's see the distribution of these barn owls in Telangana. So you can see that these are widespread. You can see them throughout the year. This chart will give you an example when this was spotted in Telangana. So it is almost throughout the year. You can see that. Where you can see it's almost everywhere. You can see barn owls in Telangana. If at all you ask specific places, probably Pakal is one place. En route to Pakal, you can see them even in Khammam, en route to Gubbalamangama temple. Outskirts of Hyderabad is also where you see them regularly. Often, whenever you drive at night, usually you see them flying from one side to another side. So, almost in all the as we discussed in this, right? Any wherever you see some rats or mice, you can see them. So here you can see the distribution. It's almost throughout, in almost all continents it is there, except Antarctica. So let's hear the call of a barn owl, which is actually important, right? I said calls are very important for identifying owls. So I'll play the call of barn owl. This like that's how the call of a barn owl. See, guys, remember calls are very important for finding owls, and each call, right, is actually you will never, once you understand the call, it's very easy to identify owls. Okay, let's go to our second bird for today, uh, spotted owlets. Okay, spotted owlet. Scientific name is Athene Brahma. Athene is a Greek goddess, and Brahma is our Hindu god. So it is named after a god and goddess. So owlets, right? Owlets is spotted owlet, and also we have two owlets from Telangana region, spotted owlet and also jungle owlet. So these two owlets, right, are actually they don't have ear tufts. So if you see, there are no ear tufts actually, and uh, both these owls have yellow color eyes, and their facial disc is smaller when compared with other owls. Okay, so they are largely active in the daytime, diurnal owls, very bold and very vocal in the daytime also. So I think these are the two highly vocal owlets we can see in Telangana. And I think these two owlets are easily seen than other owls in Telangana. Okay, so spotted owlets, right? Usually their habitat, you can see them in any countryside. Once you go outside Hyderabad, probably you'll see them in almost everywhere, probably in abundant trees, tree grooves, old trees, ruins of trees. Wherever you see them, probably if you see an hole, probably there is a chance that you can see them. Inside the city, probably in the city parks, you can see them, Sanjeev Park, all those parks, BHA, in those kind of places, you can see spotted owlets in zoo, anywhere, wherever there is a place for them to roost, or where they are not disturbed, you can see them. Okay, so largely diurnal, they are active in the daytime also. Roost by daytime in a tree hole or on a branch. Probably you'll see them in groups. Actually, most of the time you'll see them in a groups. So identification features, actually, it's easy to idea. As I said, right, they are very small owlets. A spotted owlet is about 21 centimeters. So it's easy. You can see the white supercilium, other things, and the spots on their body. And the interesting feature is they have feathered slim legs, and also their toes are not feathered. Okay, toes are not feathered. So let's see what they eat. So usually they eat insects. Uh, Beetles, moths, earthworms, lizards, mice, sometimes even the small birds. As I said, right, they are actually very bold birds. So they usually sit on a perch, pounce onto the prey. That's how they actually eat. Sometimes near street lamps, they usually sit and look for insects for prey. When they breed, actually, they breed from November to November to March is the breeding time. Usually they nest in tree hollows or some holes or cavities in human habitats, you can say. So so these are some of the pictures which are taken of spotted owlets. So you can see the tree hollow is there, a palm tree where you can see a family of spotted owlets, and there is a hole inside the whole tree hollow. You can see a spotted owlet, and you can see a big family of spotted owlets in a old tree. And this is a human habitat. You can see inside that also you can see a spotted owlet in some construction bridge, you can see the spotted owlets in some old buildings, abandoned buildings. You can see them roost in the daytime. Okay. So when it comes to distribution, I think, as I said, this is also widely spread throughout the year. You can see this spotted owlet mostly everywhere in Telangana. You can see this bird. Uh, maybe the places, if you ask me, probably outskirts of Telangana, all the places actually. If you ask me, all the parks in Telangana, you can see in and around Hyderabad, you can see, and they're widely distributed in South Asia actually, except Sri Lanka. So let's hear the call of spotted owlets. They, as I said, right, they're actually highly vocal, even though they are small in size. Their calls are actually loud, actually. It is like churr, 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 churr. Okay. That's one call. I'll again play another call. This is another call. Both. Okay, these are the two calls. Probably you might be hearing early morning or sometimes in the daytime also. You can hear these birds, highly vocal birds. Next is another owlet, jungle owlet. Uh, this is smaller than spotted owlet actually. Uh, the scientific name is Glossidium radiatum, which means that Glossidium is a Greek word for little owl. Radiatum is nothing else but having bands. So an owl, a little owl with the bands is a meaning of its scientific name. So its habitat, usually you see them in jungles, foothills of jungle, almost in the jungles only you usually see them. Mostly sometimes in the clear parts of forest, probably you'll see them. Again, these are active usually in the early mornings, dawn time, in the early mornings, and also in the evening time. They're very active. Probably if you are in any forest in the early morning time, you hear them a lot. They are highly vocal birds. Okay, and you hear them, and seeing them is slightly difficult because they blend very well with the barks or the wooden. When they, wherever they sit, right, it's very difficult to see them. So the habitat, if you want to see them, then probably you have to you have to search in the forests of Telangana region. Okay, usually in the daytime, they roost in trees, tree hollows, or on a leafy branches. Okay, so best time to see early morning. If at all you are in the forest, probably you will definitely hear them. So when it comes to identification features, it's easy to identify bird. Almost all the birds, owls are easy to identify. You can see finely barred face, and also the whole pattern is barred. And they have very bright yellow eyes, and they have very poor facial disc. So if you compare with other owls, their facial disc is almost merges with their head and also the body. Uh, they have uh, broader barring on the mantle and breast and underparts. And on the wings patch, right? On the you'll see some rufous patch. Probably in the photos, probably you'll see. So what they hunt, they feed on grasshoppers, locusts, cicadas, large insects, and also they eat lizards, mice, and small birds. So their breeding season usually is from March to May. Usually they nest in natural tree hollows, which are abundant by woodpeckers and barbets. So usually, so all the owls, right? They never build their nest. All the owls, they actually take over other. Usually they take tree hollows, or other nests, abundant nests, they use it. So similarly, this jungle owlet, so they use abundant woodpecker or barbet holes, and also sometimes in the tree trunk also they use for nesting. So these are some pictures which are taken from different parts of Telangana. So you can see, right, they're small, and they usually blend with tree barks. If you see, right, this is almost similar. Their barrings on the body, right, it blends with the tree bark. So it's very difficult to see them. Only way is once you know the call, it's you can track them and spot them. Okay, highly vocal birds. Best time to see them is the early morning or also evening. So distribution throughout the year, you can see, you can spot them. You need to be in the right habitat to see them. Where exactly you can see, Amrabad region is the best for them. Pakal, Bejur forest, Tarvai forest, Gubbalmangama is in Khammam district probably. You can see them. Kawal is the best place for jungle owlets. So as throughout South India, you can see them. Let's hear the calls. Actually, their calls, as I said, right, owlets are highly vocal birds. So their calls are also slightly highly vocal calls. Okay. It is like prop, 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 prop. This is like as if the call is very loud, like a barbet like trills. Starts very slowly, becomes louder in between, and at the end it becomes soft or fades at the end. So there is one more call of jungle owlet. Probably that is also you hear them a lot in the forest. It is like ko po ko po ko po ko po ko po ko po. So in this, if you hear the call, one jungle owlet is playing, and you can see one more jungle owlet responding far. So usually all these owls, right? Usually they respond. They call each other and they respond with each other. So next bird is fishol, which is brown fishol. We have only one fishol from Telangana region, which is brown fishol. All fishols, right? They have a very large eyes, yellow eyes. They have, and they're characterized by their facial disc is slightly not that prominent. Okay, they have a bare tarsi. Their tarsi, if you see, right, in this picture, if you see, they have a bare tarsi and toes. So maybe as their main hunting is in the water, probably because of that, their tarsis could be bare. Maybe that is one as I mean idea of why their tarsis are bare. So they're not vocal like other birds. Okay, they're I think you hardly hear them actually in the wild. So it's only in some seasons in their breeding season probably you will slightly hear them, even though their call is very feeble. So for their size actually, they actually are they have a very feeble calls. Okay, where you usually see their habitat is mostly thick for lowland forest, probably near mostly in old mango tree groves. They you'll see them roost in the daytime. Also, wherever there is a water and trees near the water stream, you'll see them. Okay. They're actually semi-diurnal. Most of the day they spend sitting on large trees, but in the early morning and also in the evening time, you see them active. Okay, you see them in active. Sometimes if it is cloudy, usually you see them hunt on a cloudy days. So, and another feature was usually they take bath in shallow waters. Usually that's how most of the time you can see them actually taking a dip in shallow waters, drying their feathers, preening their feathers. That's how you actually see them. So when you see their head is actually flat when compared with other also. They're flat-headed, and even though they have ear tufts, their ear tufts are actually horizontal. Actually, they're never erect like in an eagle. They usually are actually horizontal. They have a buffish facial disc, and their feathers, right? They are actually dark brown mottled with white wash. You can see that. Okay, what they eat? Actually, they mainly feed on fish, frogs, crabs, sometimes on rodents, birds, reptiles, large beetles probably, and they usually watch like any typical owl. They sit on some prey, watch for the prey, and then they jump onto the prey. That's how they hunt. So usually they sit on a vantage stump or a rock or an edge to have a clear view of the stream when they go for fish. Okay, what is the breeding season? Usually in November to March is the breeding season. They'll become slightly vocal in the month of January, February. That's when probably you can see them call actually in that period. Uh, they usually use what is that? A tree, cliffs or somewhere they are on the top of a mango tree or a fig tree where they usually lay eggs. Okay, they use as a breeding ground in those rock cliffs or some large nests which are abundant by other birds. Right? They usually take other bird nests for their breeding. So these are some of the pictures which are photographed in different parts of Telangana. This is from Anantagiri. This is an interesting picture where it was a trap camera where this bird is jumping onto a water body, a shallow water where it is actually trying to clean its feathers. This is the actual what is it behavior of a brown fish owl. So even though you can't see the face, you can easily distinguish by the behavior and also the feathers. And the last one is a juvenile one. You can see this bare tarsi. This is what I'm referring. Probably it is useful for them for getting their feet wet regularly. So distribution wise throughout the year, you'll see them in the right habitat. If you go there, probably you'll see them in that. So what are the best places? Anandagiri forest is the best place for seeing this brown fish owl. Amrabad region is one thing. Pakal is a wonderful place for fish owls. Bejur is one place. Tadwai, Gubbalmangama, and Kawal. All these forest areas in Telangana, you'll usually see uh, uh, these brown fish owls. Okay, let's hear the call of brown fish owl. It's like hoo 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 hoo. As I said, right, their call is very feeble. You can't hear them properly. I'll play one more call of brown fish owl. It's like hoo 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 hoo. As I said, right, even though these owls are very large owls, usually their calls are very feeble. You usually never notice them calling. So one thing I forgot to tell about the scientific name, right? Their scientific name is Kitupa xyloensis. It is named after an island in Java and also a place in Sri Lanka. So Next is Motorodoll. Motorodoll is a medium-sized owl. They don't have ear tufts. One of my favorites. Of course, I have many favorites in owl, but this is also one of my favorites because the way they look at you. So these wood owls, right? They are actually they have medium to large size without any ear tufts. Okay, they have eyes are very big actually. Because maybe that is one reason. When they look at you, you usually fell in love with these owls. So they have well-defined what is it, facial disc. Their facial disc is like a X mark. Okay, if you see, right, you can see this X mark, or you can say 8 mark. Usually I'll say X mark, a distinct X facial pattern on their face. Okay, and they have a very concentric Bart's facial disc actually. If you see, there is you have circles of concentric circles. Their and their feathers, right? Flight feathers are actually mottled. It's almost similar to any tree pattern. So when it sits on a tree, right, any mango tree or somewhere, they actually, once they close their ears, it's very when they close their eyes, it's very difficult to see them, as if they look like a branch actually. So if you see their tarsus and toes are actually feathered. Okay, it's unlike brown fish owl where they have bare feet, tarsus, whereas this mottled doll has feathered tarsus and also toes. So the habitat, you'll usually I think you can I think mostly seen in all wooded plains, probably in the cities also. You usually see them. So like zoos, there are records of them from BHL. Of course, you need to have a well-wooded plains, open woodlands, mature trees. That's where they usually roost. So some of the examples could be Manjira is one place where you can easily see. Some of the parks in Hyderabad, you see them actually. Usually, even though they are nocturnal, usually they roost very close to human habitats. All the places where it was reported, right? They're very close to human habitat. So generally, completely nocturnal birds. Looking at their eye colors, you can easily say they're dark-eyed birds. So usually in the daytime, they always hide in a hidden branch under dense foliage. So most of the time, they are actually seen in pairs, okay, or in family groups. So wherever you see one bird of a mottled doll, there is a chance that there is another bird sitting somewhere near. So this Mottled doll, right? There is a strong mythology around Mediterranean where they feel that these owls are of Illumin. Okay, it means that they feel that these owls, Mottled dolls, they feed on human flesh and blood. So some of these myths are actually because of these myths, many people they kill these owls. Okay, what they feed? They usually feed on rats, mice, and other rodents, mostly sometimes on the birds, also small size. Some lizards, crabs, beetle, sometimes large insects. These breed uh, usually they breed from February to April. Mostly in the natural tree hollows where they actually breed. So these are some places where it was reported. This middle one, you can see this is how they roost in the daytime. Once they close the eye, right, it becomes very difficult. Almost it looks like a branch actually of a mango tree or any tree. So it just looks like a wooden stick just coming out of that. That's how they roost, and it becomes very difficult for us unless they move from that place. So this is like completely hidden inside a groove. Okay, and even though they come out right from their habitat, you can still see they perfectly blend with those wooden planes. So uh, how is the distribution? when it comes to distribution, again, this is widespread throughout the year. You can see them. Where exactly you can see Anantagiri Hills is one place where you can see. Manjira is one place where there is a record of a family of owls, 5 to 6 owls. You can see from Manjira. Amrabad is the best place. Kawal is when if somebody been to Kawal, probably you can hear them from forest guest house. Pakal is also very in the IP Harita itself. You can here this zoo is one place in Hyderabad city where it was reported. DHL, where there is a reports of juvenile seen from that region, Bejur, Tadwai region. In India, it is almost throughout India except I mean the top north part. Okay, they have very peculiar calls. So their calls are actually very interesting. Maybe because of that, many people they fear this sound. Okay, and let me play the call of Matador. It is like ooh, ooh. This is actually song of a mortal doll. It's not the call actually. So that's how it sings. Okay, so imagine the song of a mortal doll, how it will sing. So there is a call of mortal doll. Usually we hear this call, and usually you see mortal dolls communicating with each other with this call. So this is, if you hear right, this is ooh, 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 ooh. So if you hear this call, you can see two owls communicating with each other by this ooh, 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 ooh. So that's how they communicate. Probably you'll, if somebody is being in the forest at slightly in their active time in the evening times or evening after the roost, right? They come out of the roost. Probably you'll hear them call a lot. Okay, so I told if you've been to Kaval guest house or Pakal guest house or in Anantagiri forest, you see them here. You can hear their calls a lot. Okay, let's go back to our next bird, which is Indian scarpsole. Scarpsoles, right? We have two scarpsoles from Telangana region. One is Indian scarpsole, the other one is Oriental scarpsole. So scarpsoles are usually small birds, strictly nocturnal birds with prominent ear tufts. They have very prominent ear tufts when compared with other owls, and also the facial disc. They have a very prominent facial disc. Uh, they usually come. Sometimes they some species have two mouths actually. Oriental scarpsole has two mouths. One is a grayish brown and also rufous moth. These two moths you are reports. There are reports of both moths from Telangana region. So usually they roost in or they nest in tree holes. That's how it is. Indian scarpsole is actually slightly larger than Oriental scarpsole. Where exactly is habitat? Habitat is actually in the forest, mostly in the wooded places. You can see them. Dense foliage, wherever you see dense foliage, probably you'll see these owls. Usually in the daytime, they're strictly nocturnal. They never, Indian scarpsole never comes out, even though it is disturbed from its roosting place. Again, it goes into the dark. It never comes out from the dark. So always hides in thick foliage trees. Okay, so that's how they roost. That is the reason it's very difficult to see them in the daytime because of the way they roost actually. So ID features when compared with the Oriental scarpsole. Indian Scops has the dark eyes, whereas the Oriental Scops even though they look similar, Oriental Scops has yellow eyes, whereas Indian Scops has very dark eyes. Okay, so what they eat, Indian Scops they feed on insects, beetles, grasshoppers. Sometimes they feed on vertebrates as such, like lizards, mice, and also sometimes they feed on small birds. Okay, little known about their breeding. All we know was they may nest in small tree cavities at moderate height. That's how we know. So they are actually very highly vocal birds at night. Actually, okay. Mm. So these are some of the pictures of Indian Scops from different parts of Amrabad. Actually, Amrabad forest. This is one part in Saileswaram. This is from Umamaheshwaram, and this is from Malazirgam. So you can see, right, and if you see them in the daytime, usually they'll actually blend with tree holes sitting inside that, mostly roosting, closing their eyes. Even if they are not in that places, probably in the dense foliage they'll be sitting inside and roosting in that places. Okay, so the distribution wise, they are active throughout the year. You need to be in the right habitat to see them. So where in which places you can see in Telangana, Amrabad is one good place to see them. Kaval, Pakal, and also Kammam, Gubalwangama region has some records of Indian Scops owl. They have again, like all owls, their call is peculiar call. So it's easy. You should know these calls too, especially the Scops owl. Right, they are very small. So usually you hear them, but you find very difficult to see them, even though the call very near to you. So let's hear the call of Indian Scops owl to understand how they call. It is just like a frog with a question mark. Let's say what, what. Okay, at irregular times. That's how it calls usually in the early morning time. I mean, dawn time, and also in the dusk time. After dusk, you'll hear these calls. Okay. So next is Oriental Scops owl. It's the smallest owl from Telangana region, 19 centimeters. Again, this their habitat is almost similar to Indian Scops owl. Prefers forest habitat. You'll see mostly in wooden places, also in sometimes in the parks. So in the daytime, they are actually very nocturnal birds. They usually roost in the dense foliage. So sometimes they roost in groups. In one place in Amrabad, where we we saw the roosting place, we saw a group of 4 to 5 Scops also in different mosques. We saw both dark gray, dark gray, grayish brown, and also rufous moth. So these two birds, right? These are actually from the same habitat, same place, but different morphs. So as I mentioned, right, our Indian Scopsol comes up in two different morphs. This is dark brown and also rufous morph. So they hide, but unlike Indian Scopsol, when they are disturbed, they usually come out and sit outside, not like Indian Scopsol. Indian Scopsol usually never leaves the darker areas, whereas these guys, they give you some time outside. Okay, maybe that is the reason their eye color is slightly yellowish. So when if you want to differentiate their from Indian Scopsol, they have yellow eyes. Okay. And on what they prey, actually they prey on insects, spiders, small rodents also, small birds also they hunt. How they hunt, usually they sit on a perch, and also sometimes in flight they hunt those insects and spiders. So they breed from February to May, where They usually in tree hollows, in the trees they usually nest. Okay. So one of the habitats probably in Telangana where you can see whenever you see a dense bamboo habitats, probably you may see them roost in the daytime. That's how they. I mean that is where we usually see in Telangana. Maybe other places probably we need to see. Okay, so these are some of the photographs of Oriental scarf sol. One is a rufous moth, the other one is a dark moth. So one you can see the even though the tufts, right? Sometimes they lift, sometimes they don't. So when they don't lift the tufts, they look like this, or else the same bird, if you see, it lifted its ear tufts. So distribution throughout the year, you can see in Telangana almost throughout the year, even though some months are missing, it's because it was not reported, but you can see them. Where you can see almost in Amrabad forest area, you can see them in the right time when you go, the whole forest, you can hear these Oriental scops. Bejur is one place where you can see Kamam, maybe some other place of Kawal can also, wherever there is a forest habitat, probably you can see Oriental scops. So how is their call? This they also have a very peculiar call, like Indian scops. It is like whoop, 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 something like that. Okay. Uh, so, so as I mentioned before, calls are very important, guys. So you need to get familiarized. If at all you're interested to see owls, probably you should understand each and every call. Okay, next is my favorite owl, Indian eagle owl, or also called as rock eagle owl. A large eagle owl, I can say, eagle owl, where usually you see them. Their habitat is the critical. Okay, to see this owl, you should be at the right habitat. You can't search everywhere to see this. They always prefer rocky hills where you can hide them in the bushes, earth banks, wooden counties. Uh, that's where they prefer all the rocky habitat. They, in and around in Hyderabad, right? You see a lot of rocks. So that's where they actually they're seen. Their scientific name is Bubo bengalensis. Bubo is nothing else but an owl, a Latin word for owl, and Bengal is after our Bengal actually. So a resident bird for our region. Generally, even though it is nocturnal, you see them active in the early morning and also in the evening time. They usually roost in rock cavities. Probably almost if you see the pictures, right? They usually roost like this. Okay, sometimes in the trees also you see in the neem trees somewhere in near the rocks. Usually they roost. Usually the preference is actually rock cavities. They sit in the night time. How they hunt? Usually they sit on top of rocks, wait almost like an hour, 2 hours. They just wait, and when they see prey moving on the ground, they slowly glide onto that and find those the prey. So when it comes to the ID features, right, they have a very prominent ear tufts. So ear tufts, they erect ear tufts, not like other brownfish owl or spot-bellied eagle. These ear tufts are actually erect. They have a very deepish orange eyes, and also their facial disc, right? They have a pale facial disc with heavy border, black border. That's how they're seen. You can see this uh, plain facial disc with a dark border. Okay, and the other interesting thing is their tarsi is completely feathered. Like unlike brown fish owl, their tarsus is completely feathered. Okay, what they hunt usually, as I said, right? They actually hunt from a perch, sitting on a rock or somewhere. Usually, they hunt. mm, rats, mice, even sometimes they eat birds of the size of pea fowl. So probably they eat those kind of prey. Reptiles, frogs, crabs, large insects, all kinds of diet they have. So usually they breed in February to April. We have records of Indian eagle owl breeding in Hyderabad outskirts in the month of November, December. So usually they breed, they have a nest in the rock cavities, where usually in those small grass, they usually in the rocks, they lay the eggs on that. So they have, I mean, like any other birds, right? If somebody goes near their nest, usually they distract the humans or any other person by they have a broken wing display, which was actually observed by one of the security persons in Hyderabad outskirts. So even though he doesn't know it's a broken wing display, he has seen that broken wing display. That's an interesting feature. Imagine this big bird doing a broken wing display in front of the lucky security guy. So uh, you see, these are different pictures which are taken in and around Telangana. So all this habitat is rocky habitat. So even though they are very big, right? So once they close their eyes, it becomes very difficult for us to see the bird, because it blends completely very well with the surroundings. So it's even though it is very big bird, it's slightly difficult to see them in the daytime, like all eagles. So distribution wise, throughout the year, you can see it's a resident bird for our region. So where you can see Aminpur, Gachibowli regions, Shamshabad outskirts, also almost all the rocky habitats across Telangana is perfect for these also. When you go from Hyderabad to Mumbai, you see a lot of rocky habitats. You see them sometimes flying at night, or sitting on some rock poles at night. So their call actually is not that loud, but it has an interesting call. Let me play the call. It is like woohoo, woohoo, woohoo. That's the call, guys. Let's move on to the next bird, which is a dusky eagle owl. Dusky eagle owl. Before I mean, tell something about this bird, probably I need to mention the name of Purushottam Sir. Purushottam Sir is the DFO of Pakal region at the time when he asked HBP, Hyderabad Birding Purse, to explore the regions around Pakal. That's when myself and Gopal Krishna here, we both visited Pakal for the first time. So I think it's in the month in February month 2018 when we first visited Pakal. When we went, we were slightly early reaching the place. Initially, we thought we'll reach by 6, but we reached by 5 o'clock. When we 5:30 something like that we reached. It is completely dark at the time, but when we reached. Uh, we saw a big owl sitting on one tree actually. So when we saw that big owl, when we kept a torch on that, we thought it's a brownfish owl because of its size and everything. It's almost looks like a brownfish owl actually. But after a couple of seconds, when we are trying to photograph, it made a call. That call is unlike any brownfish owl call. So we have no clue what exactly is the call. Then that's when we saw a bird, an owl which is not brownfish owl. That's when we try to identify that. Then we zeroed it on to dusky eagle owl because of its call. So guys, this is very important because once you know the calls, it becomes easy for you to spot new birds, because till that time we have no experience seeing a dusky eagle, but we could able to ID because of its call. That is when we could ID. The importance of call. Okay, let's come back to dusky eagle. Its scientific name is Bubo coromandus. Bubo is nothing else but Latin word for owl. Coromandus is it's a Dravidian kingdom. That's how the name came. So, what is the habitat? Actually, this dusky eagle prefers well-wooded, well-watered regions. Pakal is a perfect place for that. That is the reason maybe it is still. I think that till now it's only the place in Telangana where it was reported. Probably similar places in and Telangana, similar to Pakal, are perfect for this. Maybe northern side of Telangana needs to be explored for dusky eagle. So maybe it can be seen in other places like Bejur, Kaval. Probably in those places you may see this dusky eagle. So well-watered places, you can see them usually sitting on mango trees, mostly in the dense foliage, very close to water. They prefer not completely nocturnal, yeah, but they spend most of the time in secluded, shady places, hiding themselves in those shade most of the time. They'll wait till evening. So usually you see them in pairs. That's how we saw also most of the time you see in pairs in Pakal. So these are actually here in breeding season. That's when we went when we went in February. That's is the breeding season. That is where we saw the mating display also on that time. So what are the ID features when compared with brown fish owl? You can see they have a very pale facial disc with a narrow band. Okay, their narrow border, and they have a very peculiar, bright yellow eyes, and their ear tufts. I mean, they have a large ear tufts. Actually, not very erect like Indian eagle, but there are slightly prominent ear tufts. You can see their tarsus is actually covered till the base of the toes. So unlike brownfish owl has bare tarsus, whereas dusky eagle has tarsus, feathers on the tarsus on till the toes. Okay. So what they feed? They usually feed on all small mammals, birds. Even there are reports from Pakal. They feed on cattle egret, which are in abundance in Pakal. They feed on the reptiles, frogs, fish, large insects. So November to April is the best breeding season for dusky eagles. Usually they occupy large birds, abundant nests, which is very close to water area. That's where they lay the eggs. So these are different photos of this dusky eagle at this Paka region. This is where we saw the center photo, right? You can see a couple sitting. That is when myself and Gopal have seen it for the first time, where you can see a couple. Actually, it's a mating display at the time. So that is when we photographed. And this is a typical habitat in the daytime. When you go there, usually it hides in those dense foliage. Once disturbed, it comes out like this, and you can see the peculiar pinkish red ear lids on top. So that's how their eyes actually very distinguished feature which of dusky eagle. So distribution wise, even though it is not reported in a few months, but it is a resident bird of Pakal region. But I think more people needs to visit that region. Till now, it is only seen in Pakal. Probably similar places like Pakal needs to be explored to see more places or more spots for this dusky eagle. So again, their call is a very interesting call, unlike any other calls. Let me play the call. It's like hoo, 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 hoo. That is one call. I'll play one more call. It's almost the same call. Okay, that's the dusky eagle, guys. Let me go to the next bird, which is spot-bellied eagle. So, spot-bellied eagle his scientific name is Bubo nepalensis, which is Bubo. As we discussed, it is a Latin word for an owl, and Nepal is a reference to Nepal region. So actually, this is the biggest owl in Telangana region. Of 63 centimeters, largest owl Telangana region. They prefer habitat. They prefer dense forest. Okay, dense forest. Only till now from Telangana, this is spotted in 2 to 3 places, but mostly it is from Amrabad region, where it was actually photographed a lot from that region. So completely nocturnal bird, roosts in the daytime. Very difficult to see in the daytime unless you know its roosting place, or else a bold hunter for sure. Actually, very bold bird actually when compared with other birds. Uh, they have, if you see right, they have very long black ear tufts, which are not like they are not straight, not erect, but on the sides it is there. Their bill is very pale when compared with this, and their talons are very powerful and large. That's how you can see, and their feathered legs. Actually, their legs are actually completely feathered, and they have a white or grayish facial disc. You can say. So what they feed? Usually they feed on almost all birds. You can say also lizards, snakes, fish. There are records of them feeding on peafowl, jungle fowl. There are records of them killing jackals, hares, even barking bees. That's how their praise. So usually they sit on some vantage point, and they pounce onto their uh, uh, prey from at night. So that's how it is. The breeding season is from February to March. You can say December to January for our region. You can say December to is South Indian range. So where they actually nest, they keep their nests in tree hollows or abandoned raptor nests. That's where they actually nest. So forest eagle owls, right, or in any spot-bellied eagle owls, they actually they're very aggressive when it comes when they defend their young. So they're not shy attacking any other persons when they go near the young. So these are different photographs of spot-bellied eagle owl from Telangana region, first seen by Ashish Jha, a research scholar from CCMB in April 2016. That's when it was first reported from Mama Ishram. After that, the later part, it was seen regularly from Ahmedabad region, regularly spotted 5 to 6 at that time. So this is one instance where it was seen near Mannanur checkpost. Mannanur checkpost, very close to the human habitat. It is hunting a mice, which is actually on the road. So it means that actually they do come close to human habitat in search of prey. Only in search of prey, they come at night. Okay. So distribution wise, it's a resident bird. Even though it is not reported in some months, you can see it was reported almost 26 times from Telangana. So where it was seen mostly from Amrabad region is where it was photographed, and it was shared a couple of times from Pakal, only the Kal. One photographic evidence from Khammam. Khammam is nothing. It is kind of a border of Maridmandi region. That's where it was photographed. Again, their call is actually a very interesting call you have. I'll play the call. He's like, who, who, who. Just a deep resounding, low resounding call of who. That's one call, but it is famous for other call, which is it is a scream. I'll play the other call. Probably you might. That's a call actually, like a lady mourning, mournful scream with a loud voice. That's how the call is. A very peculiar call, easy to distinguish from other birds. Next bird is brown hawkall. Only one hawkall for Telangana region. Maybe all the books they say it is a resident bird, but for Telangana region, maybe it does a local migration, or maybe it is active in winter season. Most of the records from Telangana are in from November till February, March. That's where it is recorded. So it prefers forests, not only forests. Sometimes you see in human habitats very close, because there are records of them from parks also. Parks, well-wooded country places. I've seen this bird in Chandigarh in one of the parks. From it was reported from various places uh, in and around Hyderabad, where you very like Manjira, it was reported every year. From Manjira, it was reported. Also, last year it was reported from many of those universities in Hyderabad. So it prefers well-wooded places. Usually, nocturnal bird. Daytime, even though it is active, sometimes mostly in the daytime it roosts mostly in singles. That's where I see. But outside, probably you can see them roosting pairs. But in Hyderabad, usually, or in and around Telangana, we have seen only single bird roosting in places. But whereas outside, you see outside Telangana, you see them in pairs actually, in secluded, mostly in secluded places, shady places where they actually roost. Okay. Uh, their ID features actually is pretty easy. They have a heart shape or heart shaped symbols on their breast actually, and they have you can see white spot exactly between those two eyes. That is one an indication of this one, and they have brown upper parts. So. If you see their scientific name is Ninox scullata, which means that Ninox is nothing else but sparrowhawk looking owl actually. Sparrowhawk looking owl. Scullata means a kind of a checkered garment. So maybe because of the way it looks, right? Probably they named it like that. So, usually they feed on large insects, beetles, grasshoppers, frogs, lizards, small birds, mice. Usually they sit on a perch or on a stump somewhere looking for prey, and they pounce onto the prey. Very live very close to human habitat, where they can see these birds, these prey actually. They breed. Uh, Especially in North India, maybe from late summers actually. So these are all different photographs of brown hawk from different parts of Telangana. Mostly it was reported in Manjira. That's where it was reported a lot. Some places in universities in campuses in Hyderabad also has reported. CCMB, Forest Academy, that's where it was seen. Osmania University is one place. Ahmedabad near Uma Maheshwaram, calls are heard regularly in winter time. And it's simple, like any other bird, right? A call is very important to identify this bird. So I'll play the call. It's a whoop, 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 whoop. So if probably in Uma Maheshwaram winter time, usually you can hear this. Also in Manjira, Manjira is the best place to see that, to see this bird. Again, the timing is important. From probably from December to February, March, you see it. Next is shorty doll. Shorty doll is a migratory bird owl for Telangana region. Usually, it comes from Europe. In winters, it comes down to different parts of India. So it in usually seen in grasslands. In Hyderabad outskirts, it actually roosts in mango and neem trees. That's where it is. Unlike, but whereas in other places, you usually see them in open places, in grasslands, like Singur. This year we have seen in grasslands of Singur region. Okay, nocturnal bird usually it becomes active before sunset, and also after sunset it comes out in search of food. So in the daytime, usually it reads roosts. So ID wise, they have small ear tufts, which you can see that they have a black beak, and you can see their head is actually when they fly, right, easily it looks like a circle actually. So so these are different photographs of shorty doll, mostly from Usman Sagar. Usman Sagar is one place, and it was reported from Singur also this year. So this is, as I said, it is migratory. You usually see them from November, stay in Telangana region till April. That's when you see this bird. Usman Sagar Lake is one place, Singu Dam is one, and there are some reports of them from Nirmal region. So, so these are the 12 owls which are reported from Telangana region. But there are a chance of seeing brown wood owl from Telangana region. So we'll also see what are the two possible owls in Telangana. One is a brown wood owl, the other one is a grass owl. So we'll try to understand their habitat, and probably guys, probably we can look out for these two birds in the near future to see where we can see it in Telangana. So brown wood owl, similar to other mottled wood owl, usually it roosts in forests. You see them usually in the dense forest, undisturbed forest. It avoids actually human habitats, not like a mottled wood owl. You usually will not see where humans are. So mostly in evergreen, moist, deciduous forest, you see them, and also a very shy nocturnal bird. So it's very difficult to see them in daytime. So usually in daytime it roosts in dense foliage. If disturbed, they silently fly off. You will not even know, even this big owl, right? They silently fly off from your place. So but ID features, it is dark brown upper parts. No, even though it looks like mottled doll, but the looks, the color, everything is different than mottled doll. Easy to distinguish. Slightly larger than mottled doll, so it's easy to distinguish. So keep this bird in mind, because maybe we can soon we may see this bird in Telangana. So this is one picture taken by Chima from Marinmalli region, very close to Telangana. So probably Khammam is one place probably you can see this bird. So Khammam region is high chance of seeing this bird from Khammam. So we'll try to understand its call so that you can memorize this when you hear them in the wild. That's the call, guys. Just like who, like that. Okay, just remember this call. Probably you may hear them soon. So next possible owl which we can see in Telangana is eastern grass owl. So this actually, unlike even though it looks similar to barn owl, its habitat, the behavior, it's completely different when compared to barn owl. So it actually habitat is completely grasslands. So that is where you'll see them. ID wise, it is slightly bigger than barn owl. Their face is actually bigger, elongated face when compared with the barn owl. Their this uh, the upper parts are actually darkish when compared with barn owl. So nocturnal, completely nocturnal bird, just like barn owl. Uh, Very rarely you see them in the daytime. So when compared with barn owl, again their eyes are actually smaller. The head is bigger, eyes are smaller. Okay, that's how you see them. So this is one comparison when compared with barn owl, right? How do we differentiate their size? Their face is actually bigger, elongated, you can see, whereas barn owl size is more of a circular one, whereas eastern grass owl is actually elongated. They are not as white as, their face is not as white as barn owl. Their upper parts are actually darkish brown, and if you see their legs, right, long and mostly unfeathered legs when compared with barn owl. So, and also the habitat is where you should remember these eastern grass owl mostly lives in grassy regions. They roost in grassy regions. They actually lay eggs on the ground. Okay, that is the reason they are actually highly vulnerable species, because their habitat is getting lost, and it's a very difficult bird to see now. So only one, I think from Andhra, it was reported from Rollapadu. Probably we should look for similar habitats, probably where you have any grass kind of habitats, you may see grass owls. So mostly in the Australian and eastern parts is where you see this. The another name for this grass owl is Australian grass owl, and there is a slight chance of seeing them for Telangana. Of course, we need to look at the right habitat. So let's discuss about some superstitions about owls which exist. So mostly we believe there is a myth thinking that sacrificing an owl, right, will give you wealth because it traps goddess Lakshmi in our house. But remember the fact that all the owls in India are protected under Wildlife Protection Act. So it is illegal to kill or capture or whatever, a hefty fine and even imprisonment. So usually in Diwali and Dasra, right, we see owls are being sacrificed for gaining wealth. That's when we should actually encourage, I mean, uh, enlighten all the people who believe in these myths, and try to stop these all superstitions which are there. And we have seen owls are getting used in black magic ceremonies for witchcraft and other things, for creating ill for others, right? They sacrifice these owls for the for actually for witchcraft and other things. And also owls are considered to be foolish. I am not sure why it was like that. We always call a person foolish person as Ullu. Not sure why it is. So guys, I think it's high time we should enlighten the people who believe in these myths and try to tell them the benefits of actually having owls in our region. So we should tell the benefits that they're actually farmer friendly. So once you have owls in your farms, right, that they actually hunt all the mice, rodents, all those problems are actually, they help all the farming community actually in a way, indirectly. So, okay, last but very important thing is ethics of watching owls. So, guys, this keep these things in mind, because so these are very important. Not like any other birds. Okay, owls, they are actually they get what is that? They're actually attached to their roosting places. They never leave their roosting places like it's their home. Okay, so there are owls, they roost in the same place for year after year, 10 years, 20 years. The entire lifespan they live in the same roosting place, unless they are disturbed or actually destroyed their roosting place, or else they'll never lose their roosting place. So once you know a location, right, never play calls once you know the location of an owl, because it is not required. You know the location, so there is no point playing calls in that region, because they all the owls, they are actually respond to calls and they come out of that. So always keep it in mind not to disturb the nest or roosting site by going visiting it frequently. Once you know it, so observe it from a distance, enjoy them from distance. That's how you can protect them. So always once you know a location of an owl, always keep it a secret. Okay, so always keep it a secret, even though they are your friends. Don't tell the location of owls, because this is very important. I mean, Hyderabad Boarding Calls has a so we believe in sharing information, we believe in sharing knowledge, but when it comes to owls, we always tell the members not to disclose location of owls, whereas the other birds, it is fine, because we believe in knowledge sharing, everything except the owls. Okay, so never disclose the location of owls. Always refrain telling your friends. Also, when you post an owl, right, never tell this is mostly observed in all the groups, they exactly mention the date when they are seen. Don't do that. Give them a vague let's say 2020 are seen, just mention as 2020, because this is only for owls, okay, not for other birds. So owls are actually, as I mentioned, they don't change the location, they never leave their location, so it's always better to keep those places safe. So once you discover an owl, always once you see an owl in the field, right, always keep quiet, still. Don't make what is it sudden movements, because they observe, as I tell, right, as I we discuss in the characteristics of an owl. Owls actually they have strong hearing, and also they can easily hear the sounds. So obviously you should keep utmost silent, keep low on the ground, and appear less threatened. Once you appear less threatened, you can spend an hours with those owls, the beautiful owls. So also, when you see an owl, don't snap the branches to get a clear view, because they will be using those branches as their hiding places. So always uh, never disturb their habitat. Okay, so these are some of the references which I referred for creating this presentation. So thank you everyone for joining this session. So this session is only purely for educational purpose, non-commercial purpose. All Hyderabad Boarding Pass believes in was sharing the knowledge, what our limited knowledge we have, we try to share. So that's how most of the all the images which are used are actually downloaded by Facebook group. Okay. So thank you everyone. I hope you had good time listening to my. If at all any queries are there or anything, just drop a mail to cover@Hyderabad Birding Falls. Will respond. If at all you need more sessions on some other species, we'll try to do. We have done. This is our fifth session when it comes for bird watching and bird photography. So we already did one session on raptors. This is on owls. Probably in later sessions we'll concentrate on cuckoos and other bird species. Where especially we are our interest is more around Telangana, because that is where we are strong. So that is where we wanted to make a difference. So thank you everyone. Thank you for joining this session. Have a wonderful night.